Here we have a linear equation is in slope-intercept form, y equals negative 2x plus 2, and I'm just going to go ahead and write it. I know that I have 4 different ordered pairs. I got 1 there, I got number 2 there, I got number 3 there, and I got number 4 there. I'm just going to write the equation 4 times y equals negative 2x plus 2, and I'm going to use these equations to find the missing values, and I guess I'll write the other one over here, y equals negative 2x plus 2. So I'm going to use the eraser, and I'm just going to erase. Let's do number 1. X is 0, so I'm going to take away that, and I'm going to put in place of x a 0. And negative 2 times 0 is 0, and then plus 2 is just 2, so y would equal 2. And I'm going to go ahead and do the negative 2 right there, number 3. I'm going to take this away, and I'm going to put in place of x this x value right here, which is negative 2. And that's negative 2 times negative 2. Plus 2, that's a lot of 2's. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. And so when x is negative 2, according to that equation, y has to be 6. Now the last two are for y. So the first one, y is a negative 2. I'm just going to go ahead and take this away, and I'm going to put a negative 2 in its place. And now I've got a two-step equation. I'm going to isolate x. So I'm going to forget about this for a minute. I'm going to take away a 2 on both sides. And that's going to give me a negative 4. And here is a negative 2x. And the last step is just to divide both sides by the negative 2. And we're going to get x is 2. And so when we put a negative 2 in for y, that was right there, we got x was a positive 2. So you got to be able to solve an equation in order to answer some of these questions. This last one, y is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. I'll replace that with a 0. And again, same step, take away the 2. And we end up with 0, take away 2, which is negative 2 equals negative 2x. And we're just going to divide by the negative 2. And we get x is 1. So that's the end of the table of values portion of this problem, and it just required a couple little two-step equations. And now let's take a look at this next equation. The last two equations we're going to do in this video have fractions. This one has 1/2. So anytime there's something on the top, we're going to be multiplying by the 1, which doesn't change anything, but we are going to be dividing by 2. So 1/2 means we're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to add 3. So I'm going to pretend the first one is a 0. And a half of 0 is 0. Plus 3 is 3. So that's a really easy one. I'm going to come out here and do the positive 2 next, because half of 2 is 1. And when I add 3 to that, I get 4. So that I can do mentally. The negative number, if that confuses some people a little bit, 1/2 of negative 2, right? That's x. There's our x right there. 1/2 of negative 2, and then plus 3. So half of negative 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So these 3 ordered pairs better make a straight line because it's a linear equation. So we have 0, 0, 3, which is right there. And then we have negative 2, 2, which is right there. And then I have over 2 and up 4, which is right there. So you can see that these things kind of line up in a nice straight little line. So connect the dots a little bit, put arrows on the end, and that's the end of that equation. And let's take this last one. This right here is sort of the titan of the fraction problems, because I got a negative number, I got to multiply by 3, and I got to divide by 5. Thank goodness we only have 3. I'm going to put a 0 in. The 0 is the easy one because 0 times 3 divided by 5 is still 0. So if I put a 0 right there, I just get out a 3. But I'm going to take these away. We're going to actually have to do a little bit of work here. So I'm going to write the equation y equals negative 3/5 times x, which I'm just going to put in parentheses, plus 3. I'm going to put a number right there so we can do the work. Let's put the negative 5. So I'm putting in this first number right there, and the most important thing is that we get the sign right. Negative times a negative is a positive, and we're going to multiply by a top. 3 times 5 is 15, and then divided by 5, right? Divided by 5 is 3. And so 3 plus 3 is 6. So the answer is a positive 6. So when x was at negative 5, y was 6. Again, we're going to do one last problem. Y equals negative 3/5. And I'm going to put the positive 5 in there. And then plus 3. Another way to do this is just to divide first. 5 goes into 5 one time. And negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Plus 3 is 0. So y is 0. When I put a 5 in, I get y is 0. And let's see if these all line up. Left 5 up 6, which is right there. And over 0 up 3, which is right there. And over 5 up 0, which is over there. And you can see that this is our straight line. And that's not terrible.